So how should a customer get started with AI?
It's a great question. I always start with the use case of what are we really trying to do from a business perspective. My associate here has a set of 4 guidelines that he goes through, or 4 building blocks. If you want to walk us through them.
Sure. So, first and foremost, we start with that problem or the use case. So how do we take this larger problem we're maybe trying to solve with AI, or we think we want to solve with AI, breaking it down in smaller pieces so it's a little bit more consumable and we can move to a proof of concept a lot quicker. From there, we want to touch on the data aspects of it. Do we have the data that we think we're going to need to start to analyze the problems in greater detail and use things like maybe generative AI with that data? What does that look like? And are there sensitivity or governance concerns around that data? Then we move on to the platform and the models, start to get into more of what model is best suited for that problem that we're trying to solve. It may not be a generative AI solution. It might be something that involves speech or cognitive services or vision services and whatnot. And then lastly, we wrap up with that user experience. So what do we want that user interface to look like? Is it going to be a chat interface like we're used to maybe with generative AI type solutions? Or are we going to integrate it into a line of business application or other application?
Where does security fit in with this?
So security is applied all along the way. We want to know any security concerns up front, even when finding that problem and use case, and then apply it definitely across the data side of things. And then if this application is going to be internally facing or externally facing, there'll be vastly different security implications depending on the application.
Mm-hmm. Would you recommend that users start with something that's customer facing, or should they do something that's more internal?
I would lean probably more internal, get your feet wet, understand what the capabilities are of the models that we're using and where there are shortcomings maybe, and then from there you start to learn, can iterate, and then maybe start looking at something that's more externally facing.
Is this realistic for a standard business, an average company, or should they be tackling this themselves? Where should they be looking for help?
Well, obviously we're here to help customers get started with the strategy side of things. I know you run many of those yourselves, but it's definitely become more and more accessible by the major providers that are out there, bringing models more accessible to you, being able to use things like studios and wizards to start to play with really small use cases and examples. So I would say the barrier to entry is as low as it's ever been, and it's getting lower. But that said, when you're moving to a more production-based application, there's definitely some safeguards, and we apply those building blocks in much greater depth, I know, in your strategy engagement you run through with customers.
Thank you.